The
Let's Go podcast. And as you guys can tell, we haven't done a podcast in a couple of weeks because Mr. Gottlieb over here tripped over his words when introducing the podcast. But we're back and we're better than ever. We're gonna start banging out these podcasts. We have so much going on. I feel like I know I'm a legend, but now I really feel like a legend. All the messages I'm getting on all these chats and personal messages and all these different things going on, and we'll get to everything. But for this podcast, we want to specifically focus on the amazing, and I really mean amazing. It was absolutely phenomenal. Not only draft, but event we had last night in Twillery. Of course, big thank you to Twillery. I just wear it all the time now without even realizing. I didn't realize I had this shirt on. Good thing I do. For hosting us, it was a legitimate, amazing event. The draft was a super success. We'll talk with Yossi about the insides and the inside scoops and the different valuations and different players. But the draft itself was amazing. It was a great time. It was great vibes. The captains loved it. Holy Schnitzel, thank you for providing the food. We had a lot of people come, some during, some after. There's a bit of chaos, but it was all fun, good chaos. And I think at the end of the day, people walked out with smiles. A lot of guys purchased stuff from Twillery, 20% off. It was great. I think the whole event was amazing. I think everyone's riding on a high. Every single chat I'm on, people are just talking about how happy they were and with everything that took place last night. And with that being said, of course, we would like to get into the ins and outs of the draft itself. Dave, you could give your piece before we get to the sheriff, who gladly is joining us.
Very happy the sheriff is joining us. I had a chance to tell Steve Pollen last night, but I didn't have a chance to tell Yossi. Adam Bromberg and Avi Nenner really executed so much. Last night was a big success. I think this whole draft is going to be a big success. Adam and Avi executed the draft. They came up with the seating format and the auction style, and they ran it to perfection last night. And also, big shout out to Sach Feldberg as the auctioneer. He should do that in Shul on Yontif. They'll make a zillion bucks. He probably does do it in Shul. I wish he would have done it in Yiddish. But really, I told Steve we have a lot of Hakar Satov to Steve and to Yossi because people follow where they go. And Yossi planted this seed more than a year ago. But the main thing is the signing up from day one. Yossi and Steve are signing up. People like going. People like following the sheriff and Primetime Pollen, as we started calling him. And Yossi is so excited. I usually have to ask him 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times to come on the podcast till he agrees. This time, that's not really true, but this time he wanted to do the podcast. So we're very lucky to have him here. And it's also very fitting because he's really helped us get this off the ground.
Yeah, thank you guys. As David echoed, I was a very big proponent of this draft. I feel like the A League and the B League have turned into two very, very separate leagues. And it's evident the fact that, I would say that more than 50% of the guys I don't know. And I'm excited to play with them or against them. And I think, we're trying to create an atmosphere that's really a softball community as opposed to just the same teams playing against each other over and over. So that's why I think this draft, the draft format, I think was a great idea. Very much indicative last night. I walked into that room and people were all in. I mean, I think Menachem Dicker didn't sit down. I think he was standing the whole time, and people are shouting at I'm sorry about that. With Sach, and he did a great job auctioning it off, but there's just a level of energy and a level of chaos that I think is a lot of fun. And I think that I thought was a lot of fun. And I think this is going to propel, this is year one. I think the next draft you do, there's going to be things that you'll, of course, can build on, learn from. And I think ultimately everyone's going to know the players a lot more, which is going to make it really that much more competitive. Which is, one of the things I wanted to come on to the podcast and talk about some of the decisions. I think it's a good opportunity to call out some of the players that I thought were really good values. And I think it's also a good time to rag on the captains that overpaid. And I think Avi is going to be the first one. Now, Avi's in a very, very big advantage, and that's why he couldn't be. I think everyone agrees that he couldn't be a captain because he knows all the players for the most part. And I think you saw that last night. There were a lot of captains who were like looking for Avi of like, is this guy good? Is this guy not good? Now, everyone knows there's an Avi curve. If Avi says a player's a stud, then usually means that they're good. If Avi says that the player's okay, that means the player's like just awful. Like, stay away from him. There's a solid, like if Avi says that a player's an A-, the player's probably like a C+. If Avi says that a player's a B, it's usually you want to steer clear.
You're bringing back trauma to my high school days when I used to score so poorly on tests that I had to rely on the curve to pass.
That's
So
it. It's the Avi Edelman
I
curve.
haven't heard that word in like 8 years.
I was like joking around with Prager, and I was telling him like every time Avi talks about a guy who joins the draft, he's like, "Oh, this guy's phenomenal." I'm like, "How is this?" I'm like, "Maybe this draft is just filled with 120 phenomenal players."
Yeah, Jonas Lowenthal called me out on that as well. When I looked at the last 10 guys who joined, I'm like, oh, these are a bunch of these are phenomenal players. Jonas was like, calm down with the word phenomenal. Don't just throw phenomenal out there.
Phenomenal is a very big word. It's true. I agree with Lowinger on this, and there's not a lot of things I agree with Lowinger on, but this I agree with.
Before we get into the players, we have to next year. One thing we have to figure out is I got so many messages from guys saying like, why didn't I should have came. It looks so cool. Like you're gonna have guys begging to come next year. Like you really are. Like people just in the live stream seeing the food and the people and the hock. Like we're gonna have to figure that out.
I think they should come. I think the Twillery store was a great venue if you can get it next year. And I think you just need to have a separate like viewing area for the people who aren't the captains, and maybe condense the captains in the auction. And I think, look, as I said, it couldn't have gone better last night. But you'll see next year will be significantly better, and it's something to you'll do a full audit, so to speak, and then you'll see the next draft. And look, you might have a big push to do it earlier next year than the fall. Might push for a spring draft. We'll see. We'll see how well this goes. I think the teams are fairly balanced, and if it's cool with you, Avi, I think we should get into it and we should start going through the teams.
Let's do it. Where do you want to start?
I'm gonna pull up the snapshot that I have that was posted in the chat, but. I think you got to start with Gordon Companies, right? So it's Benji and Shlomo Ross, right? Mm-hmm. You have the amounts, right? You have the.
I got everything in front of me.
You have everything, and I'll give some of my thoughts also on like players that I know, but obviously, again, most of the players I don't really know as well. Who do you think on this team? Who do you think was the best buy? Like, who do you think was the biggest value?
I think the best buy here, and I honestly I don't even think it's close. I think Sam Rubenstein is the best buy. Sam does not get a lot of attention. Sam plays primarily B League. He plays on Benji Ashkenazi's team on the
position?
He's an outfielder. Outfielder. Plays on Bad Attitude. He's the left fielder. They just came off of one of the biggest upsets in HSL history. They lost to the 8 seed to Craig Stroh's team. But Sam is a freak athlete. He's up there. He's not at the same level as a Matt Rosenberg or a Jakey Goldenberg, but he's right there. He's really good, and he goes so under the radar because he doesn't play ever in any A-League ball. But he played a lot. He's played a lot in the outfield. He's a freak, and he's really fast. He hits bombs. And, I mean, again, I've never seen him go up against A pitching consistently, but the guy's a freak in the outfield, like a legit freak. He has a rocket arm. He's all over the place. He's flying, and he's a great hitter. Like, he's someone that I think for $27
it was a good deal.
Well,
who would you say was the most questionable buy? Or if you have to do it all over again, you probably would say that they went for too much.
Avrami Blisco's a good player. He's a good third baseman. He could hit. I think he could have gone for less than 26 at the right spot.
You're saying because Sam and Avrami were neck and neck.
Sam and Avrami were neck and neck.
And they're not neck and neck talent-wise.
No, I think Sam's a much more valuable player. Avrami's good. He's a good, solid third baseman. He could hit the ball, but Sam is just is a talent. He's a real talent that not a lot of people have.
So I'll just comment on the A-League guys. The two guys that obviously I know played really well. I played against them a lot is Izzo Zwirin and Noah Aaron. I think Izzo actually was a really great value at $20. I was driving, but I was trying to text Glenn. I really wanted Izzo is to me one of the most underrated hitters in the league. He's not only an A hitter, he's a premium A-League hitter. He hits fast pitching, he hits slow pitching. He's very, very difficult to get out. I think the downside with Izzo is Izzo's primarily a catcher, and I think he can play second base. But
Izzo doesn't really want to catch. He wants to try to play the field for this.
So you lose a lot of flexibility. I think he'll admit to you he's not an outfielder. He's really stationed at second base is probably where you have to put him. That's the downside. But from a hitting perspective, he's probably a top 15 hitter in the draft. I would say Noah Aaron's the other one. I think Noah Aaron, and I like Noah Aaron, but people want the truth, Avi. They don't want me to just say everyone's the best. They want the truth. I think Noah Aaron at 62 was high. I think Noah is a plus outfielder. I don't put him in the column of top outfielder, and I think Noah Aaron is a very good hitter, but I don't put him in the top column as a great hitter. I think he's up there. Although I love Noah Aaron, he's just also a great teammate. But I think when you take a player above 60, a position player, we're not talking about pitchers. When you take a position player above 60, I think they have to be considered the top 10 players of the draft. And maybe Noah's just on the cusp of that. Let's move on.
Yeah.
David Gottlieb. This is going to be fun. We get to rip on David here. One might argue, I heard rumors that this might have been the worst draft of the night. I mean, his team. No, I'm just kidding, Dub. In full transparency, I don't recognize
You're muted, by the way.
one guy on your team. Meaning, I don't recognize one player. I know that this is a very heavy SY team, if I'm not mistaken. I know Solly ceases. Everyone's been SS, right? Has been talking about him. I don't know.
A lot of glazing of Solly. It took on a life of its own.
Yes, they came in with one goal, and they accomplished their goal, and that's the bottom line. They accomplished their Syrian sensation team running it back. They, under the name of Crush Trivia now, but that was right. And Dave, am I mistaken? That was your goal. Like that, you really couldn't care. 95% of the goal was just to get all the SYs. Obviously, the one play that you missed. Yeah,
I'm very excited to see what this team does because there's always a lot of comparisons between other leagues, and we'll see how they hold up with.
So I want to just the two big catches of the night on our team are Solly and JoJo. But I played with them. So just so you know, I played fall ball with Rada. Found these guys originally. He taught some of them in high school, and Rada has a farm system.
Yeah,
so we played on Sunday. Yeah, his minor league system. We played on Sundays on Rada's team, and then we got along really well. So we made a fall ball team.
Well, not Solly and JoJo, the other ones.
The other ones, and they brought down Solly and JoJo. So I've seen Solly and JoJo against B League pitching. Haven't seen them against A League pitching. In their other leagues, they play A League pitching, but again, it's a different animal, like you said. So those were our two big pickups of the night. I think Jay Casson was a steal at $15.
Well, we got to ask Avi. Avi, who was the biggest steal on David Gottlieb's team?
Yeah, I was going right there. I was going to Jake Casson. Jake is someone who has elevated his pitching 5 times in the last 12 months.
So Jake's a pitcher, just so we know. Jacob
is a pitcher. Jake's got really good speed. He changed really good speed. He has more speed than I do, and I have okay speed. He has more speed than I do. He changes speeds well, and he doesn't walk guys. He knows how to buckle down when he's behind in the count. Sort of like a mini Sheriff in a sense. Not as much speed and doesn't have that wicked spin pitch, but he has control. He moves the ball in and out. He changes speeds well, and he knows how to. He doesn't walk guys. He refuses to walk guys. He'll get the ball over instead of walking guys. I think he potentially could be the best. Him or Asaf are the best pitchers in this draft outside of our top 4.
Who do you think was where David clearly made a massive mistake and went way too much on a player?
I'll tell you in a second. Shamai Feldman, another fantastic pick. That guy for $4. Shamai's a hitting machine in the B League. We'll see how it translates to the A League. In terms of massive mistake, it's very hard to see because they went all in on SYs. Like Yankee Hershkowitz at $7, that's good. Kessler at 10, that's fine.
Did they overpay for JoJo leaving?
No, I don't think they did.
Okay.
JoJo's worth a $60 pick.
Did they overpay for Ike?
So we had $36 left. Where our mistake was, where we screwed up was that we should have had a better strategy for how to snag the Syrians. And still have money on the table.
We ran out of roster spots.
Oh, I understand. Okay, yeah. So this is common in fantasy football strategy. Also, a lot of people make mistakes in an auction draft where they fill up their roster and they realize that they have all this money left, but they only have, and you only have, one pick.
The official mistake is they needed to get Ike because Ike is part of the SY crew, but they could have gotten him for $2 and $1, and they had $36 left, but they used it on Ike because they wanted Ike. They could have gotten a better play, obviously, but they wanted Ike. So I don't know if you call it a mistake. They wanted it. That's what they wanted. Mistake is that they could have spent more on their other 4 or 5 non-SYs and potentially got more talented players and more bang for their bucks. I think it's more of an overall roster mistake more than a player mistake because I don't see too many crazy values not worth it. Obviously, like you said. 36 on Ike Saf is crazy news, but they did it on purpose because they wanted to have him and they had $36 left and he was their last pick.
Okay, let's move on to MS Motors. Yuta Nenner and Gershon. I know what you're going to say is already the best, and you're probably going to list this as one of the best steals of the night, which you said on the live stream.
Yeah, it's not even a question.
It's Viggy, right?
Viggy Ben Hayim, yeah. Shout out.
Has Viggy played in the A League at all? Have I played against this guy?
Viggy has not played in the A League. He plays He played on Alt Bank summer nights. He's been playing with Shamai Feldman's team last year in the fall, and this past he played Sunday mornings a little bit in the summer league, not in the spring league, so also more B League. The guy is a truck at the plate. He hits rockets. I don't know if you know Yigal Ben Hayim, his brother, used to play in HSL before he left. I don't know if you ever played against him. Very similar player, a little bit better in the field at third base, and a fantastic hitter. He's definitely above.
What do you think he should have gone for?
Probably more.
A lockdown
more
left side of the infield play.
More from 25 to 30, I would say.
By the way, something we also saw last night, which we've been saying for a long time, a lockdown left side of the infield. How many are there, period, in these leagues? 20?
Yeah.
I think you
At
also
most.
had, which we'll get into,
More,
I think
less
there was a
probably.
lot of infielders, though. I think there were not so many outfielders. And I think our team, which we'll get to, I think we got burned by that a little bit because, when you're halfway through the draft and you go through how many outfielders are left.
When you hear Glenn Zuckerman at the end of the draft, all right, so I'll move to the outfield. I'm like, something's going on.
Don't underestimate the range. Who do you think was the pick that you think that they probably could have gotten or should have gotten for a lot cheaper?
So they spent very little on almost everyone because they went $98 on Ash. Menachem Davidovich is a very good pick at 19. I think that's also a steal, in my opinion. He plays on my Sunday morning team. He's a freak athlete.
Is that Castner's son-in-law?
He's also a great shortstop, and he's I don't know, it could be. He's Shmuel,
Who? Menachem Davidovich?
He's Shmuel.
Oh, it's Menachem Greenberg.
That's Menachem Nyman.
Nyman. Okay. So
Menachem Davidovich's not married.
Yeah, so whatever. He's a great pick. Shai Rosalimsky at 26 could have gone for a couple dollars lower. Maybe he's also a great player. It seemed like
on-base machine.
Like
what do you think of Erickson Flores at 16? Him I played against.
Too low. Way too low.
Yeah.
Way too low.
Yeah, but yeah.
Steal.
Yeah.
Steal.
I think they went for a lot of mid to above average players consistently with the Daniel Ash. My question for this team, this is my most important question, is after doing some research, Daniel Ash does not know one soul on this team. So how in the world are we going to get him into that dugout? And what's he going to do? He's going to walk in the dugout, sit on the bench. Who's Ash going to talk to? Ash is he just talks the whole game to players. What's he going to do? How are we going to get Ash?
I actually think that's an advantage because nobody wants to talk to Ash during games. So this is great. This might work to his advantage.
I was talking with the guys after, if Ash would have gotten drafted to a Glenn team or even Gottlieb's team or, guys that he knows, he doesn't know a soul on this team. And hopefully,
I'm excited to see Daniel Ash play against a team behind him that isn't an absolute all-star defensive team from the A-League.
Juggernaut.
I think it'll be interesting. No, I think this is a good draft. I think that Nenner's team, as you said, you called it, you said it what it is. They didn't really heavily overpay for anyone. Aren't really mistakes. Pretty well rounded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to Wall Street Grill,
yes.
which is the Greenberg-Prager duo, which is interesting because there's already two good outfielders. Matt Rosenberg at $83. I love this pick, by the way. I actually think based off of how everything else went, I think that Matt should have gone higher, right? Because when you have a lot of other play, because Matt to me is so far above, in a way, the best player in the draft, position player anyway. I think 83 actually turns out. I think if he was drafted later in the draft, I think he would have went much higher.
I agree.
But what do you guys think? What do you, Avi? Where do you think he was the best pick of the night?
I'm right there with you with Matt Rosenberg at 83. I think that's fantastic. Yaakov Goldstein at 47 is also a very good pick. Yaakov is a very low-key player. I tried to explain to Jonas Loander 5 times who Yaakov Goldstein is, yet he once again messaged me 2 hours ago who's Yaakov Goldstein.
So I very much disagree with you for Yaakov Goldstein. And I'll tell you, when I played against Yaakov Goldstein, and he is a good player. The problem with Yaakov Goldstein is, for the most part, he's a first baseman, correct?
He plays outfield.
He can get around the outfield pretty nicely.
He requests to play first for the draft.
So if he's an outfielder, it's a different conversation. But if you're playing, especially with this draft, there's a lot of first basemen. I think, for the most part, you could be a really phenomenal hitter, but if you're playing first, you're just so limited, right? So if they bought him at 47 where he can play the outfield, then it's a good buy. But if he's just staying at first base, I don't think you could spend that on first base.
We'll see. I think he specifically I know he plays outfield for a fact, but I think he specifically requested not to play outfield for this tournament. So we'll see how that ends up. Overpaying here again. There's not much here to work with. I mean, Toby is going to be their pitcher, so at 17, that's not
Craig at $1.
Yeah, but what are they?
Oh, overpaid. You asked for. Okay.
Craig at $1 is a good pick. Who's going to pitch? Maybe Toby at pitcher and Craig at third. I think. Are they putting Craig at third?
I imagine they'll split the pitching duties. I don't know.
I'll tell you this. This is why I think Jakob Goldstein's clearly overpaid. Because when you already have Matt, right? They're drafting, it's the first pick of the draft. You already have your outfield set, right? You have Matt, Prager, Greenberg. You don't really need, it's such a good outfield, you could play 3 across, right? 3 and 1. So you're putting Goldstein automatically in the infield, and in the infield, he's only going to play first. So to me, $47, like I would have spent $47 and get like a premium shortstop or third baseman and a left side. I don't know who's going to play left side. I guess
They have Light, Dax, Abitan, Dovey Schwartz. They have a lot of good infielders, a lot of very solid infielders.
Who do you think was their best pick of the night?
I think it's Matt. Like you said, I think it's Matt.
Matt at 83.
I don't know if they did a good enough job building around it, but I think Matt at 83 is a great pick.
I think this is going to be a very interesting team because I think this is obviously Tovia pitches the contact and the outfield is phenomenal. So
yeah,
this is going to answer the question, I think, moving forward to future drafts of what's more important, having just a shutdown defense and a pitcher that's just going to pitch to contact, or a really good pitcher, but defense that could be suspect. Let's move on to.
I got a message from Joey Katz. He claims Wall Street Girl is the best team in the draft. So
all right, we'll find out. Let's move on to Holy Schnitzel, Rossman's team. Okay.
Here's a bit of a controversy on this team, and I'll get right into it. He's a good friend of mine. I heard from different sides of the aisle last night. Chaim Zegelbaum. I heard that he was severely overpaid for. I heard he was severely underpaid for. I hold both extremes. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts. $31.
This is a David question because I don't know Chaim Zegelbaum well. I assume he plays predominantly in the B.
He plays predominantly in the B. He played on my A fall team last year and then went into the B this past spring and summer to be Machazik himself.
So David, what do you think?
I've seen Zegelbaum at his best, which is helping carry a B League team of mine to a championship along with Feintuch and Nenner, where he was outstanding in left field. Pain in the ass on the base paths, and also an on-base machine that season. Now, some people are telling me that he regressed in his hitting, and Zegelbaum also thinks he regressed in his hitting and maybe isn't ready for A-ball. How much did he go for?
He went for $31.
$31.
Ross just messaged me that he would have gone 40 to 45 on Zegelbaum.
Yeah, so I mean, I've heard from like I said, different sides. Some say he was way over.
So David, what I feel is you're saying that the 31 is not an overpay. In fact, it could end up being a great value depending if you get a good version of him.
I guess the question is he a player that can help you beat? Is he a player that can get on twice against Jesse Kaufman, Steve Paul, and Daniel Ash in a playoff game? You really need that. You need somebody who's going to get on base twice in one of these games, especially if he's at the top of your lineup.
And defensively, though, you like what he possesses.
I really like him. Some people say he's not amazing at tracking balls. Avi, I don't know what you say. I was always very impressed with what I saw out of him.
So I think it's not a question. I think this is one of the best deals of the night. I think Jakey Goldenberg at 51 that's got to be, because I think Jakey Goldenberg is the top 5 player in this entire draft, and I think Avi agrees with that.
For sure.
I'm a huge Jakey Goldenberg fan. I think he's super underrated. I was a very big proponent that he should be playing in the All-Star game. From an outfield perspective, I think Matt is the only one who's better than him. I think he's the best outfielder defensively, and I think from a hitting perspective, he's a very solid hitter. Jakey's also incredibly versatile. You could put him at short, you could put him at third, you could put him anywhere, and he's super fast.
Who is their outfield now that I'm looking at it? I mean,
it's going to obviously have Jakey in it, and it's going to have Zegelbaum.
Ellie Weiss, great outfielder. Plays a lot of Shoe League softball and a lot of B League on Breda's team.
So I'll give you
there too. You got
and Bromberg's also a very good outfielder.
They have a very
good
outfield.
Where does Yoel Rossman play? He's infield or outfield?
Third.
They might have
the best.
They got a nice team.
They might have the best outfield.
Who's their pitcher?
Andrew Wildstein.
And
Ari Slamowitz, also pitch to contact kind of guys. Pitch to contact.
Okay, so this is another kind of like Blisco similar, really strong defensive team, but
very
pitch
strong
to
in the
contact.
outfield. In the infield, Netter at first is great. Yeah, I mean Rossman at third is great. Who's going to play shortstop for them? That's a good question.
So I think to me the overpaying on this team, if I had to, again, this goes back to the Jakob Goldstein argument.
Is a great infielder. They have a good team. They have a very well-rounded team.
I think Avi Nenner, assuming he's not playing any other position other than first, and he shouldn't because I've seen Avi Nenner play other positions. Sorry, Avi. I again, I think it's a tough to spend $46 on a guy who's very limited in the field, and you're really just putting him in first, regardless of a really how good of a hitter. Actually, it's a question for you guys: is Yaakov Goldstein or Avi Nenner? Who's a better hitter?
Nenner's a smarter hitter.
Situational.
So, but close, right? You would say close.
Yeah, but Nenner's a smarter.
I think in the upper.
Also, Nenner's played in 1,000 big games at this point.
Yeah.
Goldstein doesn't have a pedigree.
The IQ is more. Yaakov is very dangerous. Debatably more dangerous than Avi is, especially now. Avi doesn't. He gets into one every once in a while. You saw him get into one off of you, Yossi, in the championship.
Yeah.
But for the most part, he's just turned into much more of an IQ style hitter, similar to like what Lowinger turned into, in which he'll line it to right, he'll poke it to left, hit up the middle. But I think the IQ is much more there. The Yaakov.
Yossi, you're bringing up the way Pete Alonso, right? He's a lumbering first baseman. Couldn't find a deal last offseason. Like the market for these big first basemen in the MLB even is sort of limited. I think that's what you're.
Well, I mean, I think the draft is going to need a lot of, you're going to need to maybe need flexibility with position players and defense. And I think, again, spending a lot on a guy who's just going to be stationed at first base, even if they're a very, very good hitter, I think just it's a lot of money. And I again, maybe we'll see if I'm wrong, but it's not a knock on Avi. Avi and Yaakov are both great hitters. It's the first baseman piece. I feel like that is the most replaceable position in a way. But I don't know if you guys agree. Would you say that Avi Nenner is there someone else? I don't know who Dovey is. They're $37. Is that considered an overpay?
It might be. Dovey's a great player, and I hyped him up a ton to all the captains, a lot. He played on Sach's team. He played on Sach's team before he actually, story of Dovey Geitzel. So he's in yeshiva in Muncie. And he signed up for the Muncie fall ball. And I was giving him so much flack. I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, play in HSL. It's going to be whatever. And he's like, nah, I'm ready in Muncie. I'm in Yeshiva Muncie. I'm like, yeah, but the guy so much more. You know the talent that we have here for the fall. And he was like, no, I'm not doing it. And then, like, once we announced, like, we're going from 111 to 120, he said, all right, I can't resist anymore. I'm signing. I'm doing it. I'll make it work. He's a great baseman. He's a great hitter. I hyped him up a lot, which is probably what caused his value to go a little high.
But people noticed that at the draft. You were hyping.
But I don't think it's crazy. It's definitely
okay. David, if I had a shot of alcohol for every time Avi said a player is a great player on this podcast, I would have had alcohol poisoning about 15 minutes ago. Moving on to Twillery, which is Menachem Dickers and Chesky Atsus' team, and this is a team that traded right. They were the only trade with Manek at the end.
Yeah.
Who is the best? I have a lot of thoughts on this, but who is the best value that they got? Who would you say was the top pick for their dollar amount?
I don't know. Dove Slansky at $5 is a very good pick. Dove's he's a first baseman again, but he's a professional player. He's an elite player.
I know Dove. I played with Dove. Dove is a good hitter.
Player, first baseman. Yeah. Jack Ross at 71. He could he have gone for a little more? Probably. He could have gone more to the 77, 80, but like, it's very high. Jack's a great player, and that's a good pick.
What do you think of? Is Benji going to catch? Is he going to play the left side? What are they doing with Benji?
I don't know. He signed up as I think he signed up as an infielder.
So this to me would be an overpay because and obviously I played with Benji for years, but if Benji is just catching, $31 is a lot of money. And Benji, if he's not catching, I assume you can only put him on the left side. He doesn't play the outfield.
He'll play. For me, he's played third and second for me. Yeah, not as much.
I think this is an interesting. It's funny. This is one of the teams that a lot of like. I think Roberg at $6 is a good buy. I played with him before. He's not a bad hitter. He's a very good first baseman. Outfield's shaky though if they're going to put him out there. But and then I'm a Kiva Manek fan. He's played with me for a bunch, and he's an A-League player. And I think, and I was telling this to Glenn, I said I think you could steal him for cheap because not a lot of guys know him. And he hit Steve very well, and Steve ended up buying him, and then obviously they ended up trading him. But I think at $18, I think Akiva Manek is a very, very good buy. We'll see. I think this team depends on how Asaf pitches. If Asaf pitches really well, and he could, he's holding his own with some of these 8 players. I think
Benji can't catch because Bomo Keller's on the team. So as long as Bomo is not on the bench, Benji's not gonna be able to catch.
Would you say that Benji's a good fielder?
At third, I think he's better at third base than he's at second base. He's good. I think he's good at third. I think he's below average at second.
Okay. Let's move on. Prime cuts. You could see that as Younger wanted a lot of his guys that he's played for. I know this team pretty well just because it's a lot of guys that I've played with. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I would tell you the player that I think there's two players that they got at a really good price. One of them is Yitzi Miller. I think Yitzi Miller at $30 is a steal. Yitzi is a premium hitter. He's an A hitter, and he's a hitter that can hit Steve. He could go up against. He's gotten hits off of Ash. He's a really good hitter. Fielding wise, he's not the fielder that he used to be. His range isn't, as it always happens, right? But he's solid in the outfield. I think he's a player that should have gone well into the 40s. And as an example, for flexibility purposes, I would have paid more for him than I would have paid for Goldstein or Nenner, just because, again, he could play the outfield. I don't know if you agree with that statement.
I think he's a very good player. I think he's a great hitter. I think in the outfield he's declined significantly. Just from what I'm seeing.
No, this is about honesty, Avi. We're not here telling everyone's a great player. That's the whole point.
In the outfield, I do think he's a top A-League hitter still. He can hit anybody. He is a smart hitter. He goes opposite field when he needs to. He's got a lot of pop in his bat. I think he's a very solid hitter. I think his outfield is just. I think you need a strong outfield around him. I don't think he could be your 1 or 2. I think he's your 3 or 4 in the outfield.
I don't disagree. I think Yaakov Weiss at $10 is a really good buy. I think Yaakov Weiss is.
Yaakov called me today about the kid stuff, and he was telling me that. I'm like, I saw you helping out as a Younger before you were on his team. So Yaakov said, I told Ezzy I would kill him if he didn't pick me, so he had no choice. So I just think
$10. I mean, Yaakov is a good third baseman. He's a very good third baseman. He's played with me in the A-League. He's good. He's solid. Sometimes he'll have bad games here and there, but I think from defensively he's great. And I think offensively, I think Yaakov against maybe not Ash, but again, how many guys are going to really hit Ash and Steve? Yeah. I think he'll hit well. I think $10.
He's also what you call. He's also what you in baseball they call professional hitter, meaning
he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think $10 is amazing. It's crazy. Meaning they got Sach Feldberg, and Sach as a guy is the best, but Sach is going to catch, right? And Sach, I think, will admit himself. I think Yaakov Weiss as a third baseman is better, and Yaakov Weiss is a much better hitter than Sach. So, to me, that was.
Avi says that Sach's bat is still very big.
Sach is good. No, he's solid.
Again, I've seen him primarily in B-ball, A-ball a little bit from Monday nights, but in B-ball he hits rockets to left.
He hits. Again, this is a little bit of a different style of picking because you are going to face half the teams are going to have really good pitchers. Right. So you're not just going to be feasting off of pitchers that are throwing it, kind of getting it over. So right. I think it's more so about the flexibility with Sach is that he's very limited. He's either going to catch or play first, right? I'm sure David's phone is blowing up.
He serves third base. What?
I just something funny. You guys were talking about before. Who's Ash going to talk to? Yossi, I don't know if you know Gershon Bruckler. He's one of the captains. He's extremely chatty, extremely chatty. So he's like, "Don't worry, I'll keep talking to Ash during the game."
I love that.
The question is, how long does it take till Ash blocks him on his phone?
It's probably not too long. I will tell you that David Bloom at $70. So in my opinion, David Bloom is the second to best player in the entire draft, position player, right behind Matt.
Holy mackerel.
He is. He can play anywhere. Steve's been.
He's in love with him.
Preaching.
He's in love with him.
He played with me this season. We played in the A-League, and I said to Steve after, he's 100% right. First off, he hit so well, and he hit really well off of Ash, which very few people can do when Ash is on. He could play any position. He's a great guy. You could put him anywhere. Shortstop. He's, to me, defensively, other than Josh Goldenberg, he's the best defensive shortstop in the Jewish softball world of the guys I know. And he's just lead off. He's fast. I would take him, other than Matt, I would take him as the next pick. So to get him at 70 when some other guys even went around that or higher, I think was a great buy. I think as he did a good job. I think his Nachum Mintz is a pitcher. I don't know Nachum Mintz that well. I'm assuming he's more on the second tier of pitchers, right? Avi and David, you'd agree with that?
Higher second tier, because he's really knows what he's doing on the mound. He has a game.
So I think it's going to be a very good team, and I think again they're going to pitch to contact, and I think if their defense is where I don't know who Nathan Frankel is, and I don't know who Solomon
he's a steal also.
Gindolf at $11. I'm telling you, I said it in the podcast preview. Gindolf's a very good player. He's very good. He's not the best of IQ, but he's good in the outfield. He moves, he throws, and he's a lefty that has a lot of power to all fields, and he's fast.
He's got a little swagger. He's got a little swagger
He
also.
does. He does have a swagger. He's
So
also,
that sounds like $11 sounds like they got a player that probably should have been in the 20s.
I think you go 18 to 22. Yeah.
Michael Reinhardt at 36. Thoughts?
A little high.
Ooh.
I love Mikey, but
I've been another guy I was hyping up middle of the draft.
Oh, really? That's so odd. You never hype up guys.
The problem with Mikey is I don't see him hit the other way ever.
I have.
You have.
I have. And I also know that Mikey in his short stint in the A-League in the fall last year went 3 for 3 off of Ash when he faced Ash, which is why I turned into a massive Mikey Reinhardt fan.
It could be. I thought he's a little home run happy. He's a lefty. I thought he's a little home run happy towards right. When we play him, we just really move our fielders back. But maybe I'm misremembering. Hope he doesn't watch this because I'm friends with him.
I think it's fair. I don't think it's crazy over expensive.
Let's move on to Glenn, which is my team. So I'll let you guys chime in. I'll give you my quick thoughts because it's my team.
What do we think on the Sheriff going for $100, the most expensive player in the draft?
Yussi's stock is very high these days. People really respect him as a pitcher, as a person, and as a hitter. So we glaze him a lot, as the kids say. We glaze him a lot. But it's sort of consistent with the other pitchers. I don't really see a difference in the price between him, Ash, and Pollen.
197 and Pongo 90. Pollen went 10 below.
I think, by the way, for the record, I think if I would have been nominated before Steve, I think I would have went for 90, and I think
Glenn
Steve
claims Steve set the market. That's what Glenn claims.
He's not wrong. I think it's also just because like people were, I think, sticker shock of like 90, that's so expensive, let it go. And there's two other pitchers, Ash and me, left. And then when Steve went off the board, I think, that's the reason. I don't think I would have gone for that. I think if anyone else would have been in my position, I think they would have gone.
What do you think of Ari Moskovic at 45? I heard a lot of different polarizing views on that also. Super expensive.
Some people feel he's over the hill. I don't know.
It's funny, as a pitcher, and this is Glenn, I was pushing for Glenn to get Ari Moskovic. As a pitcher, I basically pick players that I know that are really tough outs and are really good hitters. Ari Moskovic, to me, is a guy
that is a tough out.
He's such a tough out. I'm not saying I know they say his range isn't what it used to be, but he balls hit the left field unless it's something that's really hard to get. He'll catch it. I've always said he's the type of guy that gets up in the box and I'm like, who's on deck, because I really want to pitch around this guy. And at $45, I'm sorry, I think again, I think he's a very, very, very good hitter, and he can hit good pitching. He hits fast pitching. So I was a big proponent of that pick. I was a big proponent of the Weissman pick. I think he's one of the most underrated, great hitter. And what did I get him for?
Figure out is what do it.
Avi, when I was on Moe's Sports,
Weissman's always been.
And I didn't come to the playoffs or championship. It wasn't called Moe's Sports, and it was called Melee Machines.
Yeah, it's always been.
I was watching the games though. Weissman, I almost want to say hitting wise, he was the best hitter down the stretch on that championship.
Let me talk about Weissman, because I played with Weissman more than any of you have played with Weissman over the last 5 years at least. Weissman is a phenomenal hitter. He has popped to all fields. He works to count. Weissman also is one of those guys. Put Noah Aaron in that same category. I could get other guys. With bases loaded, no one out, he'll randomly pop up, and it bothers me so much. Not because he's not a great hitter, but he'll do it. With second and third, no one out, he'll pop up. First and third on, he'll strike out randomly. He doesn't do it a lot. Is it very little? But he'll be random. I don't think he really knows how to shorten up consistently and get the job done. He's still a very good hitter, and I'm not saying that he does it the majority of the time. I'm just saying he would be one of the last people I'd want up with a guy on third, no one out to knock somebody. Yes, he has a ton of pop. He could drive the ball to the outfield, but he will randomly out of nowhere against the weakest pitcher in the league just pop up in the infield. That's the only thing.
The thing is, though, he's $9 and he'll likely hit 500.
Yeah,
he'll likely hit 500.
Yeah. So that's the value. Yeah.
I'm just explaining where I'm coming from. Two other guys I want to bring up quickly: Keith Rosenstock and Ike Cohn. Ike Cohn, nobody knew about him, and I forgot him myself until like the very end. Ike plays M&S. You don't play M&S unless you know how to play. M&S and deal Sam Sutton. I know Solias is like making fun of the league as a beer league. He doesn't let anybody join the league. You can't play in the league if you're like dysfunctional. You have to be a good player. I think Ike could have easily gone in the 20s. Easily, maybe even 30s. I've never seen him play personally, but just from knowing that he plays in M&S means he has to be legit, somewhat. And Keith Rosenstock also, a very low-key player, quiet player, tall kid, plays third base very solidly, and he's got a lot of pop in his bat. He'll also randomly pop it up, but a lot of pop in the bat, and he can hit fast pitching.
Who's the worst pick on this team? Who's the most overpriced? And you could say the pitcher. and I won't disagree with you. Because
By the way, you know who's a very nice outfielder? Avi Kron.
Also a great pick.
Just
A
by the
lot
way.
of very good, a lot of very, very subtle
Well, I
picks.
So you're
think they
saying that
sort of had to
this-
bargain hunt after
The problem is who's
after
gonna be,
me,
the
yeah.
problem is who's going to be the infield for you guys.
who the hell
No,
is
the
Emmanuel
infield- the
Silver? He's from Las Vegas. I messaged him. I don't know. He found the league online. He's like the one referral we've gotten online. We get random referrals from non-Jewish people that message us. He's like the one referral from Google search that panned out.
We'll
It's
see
hard to
how
say who you
well
overpaid for because everybody's under $10 except 2 players.
except for me and Moskovic, which is actually which is
Rave
funny.
also. Rave was 16.
Rave was 16.
Great pick
I
also with Ray, by the way. A lot
I
of
know
you-
Rave really well. Yeah, I like Avi a lot.
You guys sold out your whole team for Calvin and Moskovic, but I think you did a great job using the minimal amount of money and getting players at great prices for minimal amount of money.
I also think Jacob Byrne, and this is again we talk about Jacob Byrne was one of those guys that surprised me. He's not an easy out. He's not.
He played for our A-League team in the fall last year. A lot of games.
He hits well, and he could and he's willing to catch. And there's not like a lot of guys that are willing to catch. So let's move on because I know we want to move this.
Yeah,
along.
I got to run also.
Let's talk about Lowinger. So obviously similar. You know, they went all out on Steve. What do you think was the biggest steal of their draft?
Ephraim Slomowitz.
At $11.
I don't think it's close. Slomowitz also an underrated player, brother.
What does he play?
He plays outfield. Flies around the outfield. I think he dropped off a little bit in his bat. He's been playing against top tier pitching. He plays in Brooklyn in the Coyle League on Goose Mintz's team. They won the championship now, I think 4 years in a row there against tough competition. And he's a professional. You know, Doug was talking about professionalism before. He's a professional.
What should he have gone for?
25.
Okay. And what would you say is the one where they may have overpaid?
I don't know where they overpaid. I'll tell you them again. The most controversial in that team as well is Moshe Feintuch at 49. Again, another guy that I heard a lot of super underpay, a lot of super overpay. I didn't really hear any in the middle. So you could get.
Yeah. Well, Mo is an incredibly talented player, and I think everyone agrees with that. I
also just want to I want to call attention to one more thing besides Mo. Did you want to say something else, Yossi, about that?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Aaron Scheinbein. He signed up. I messaged him, welcomed him, new to HSL. Said he played tier 1 in LBA. Said he played in Toronto or Canada, where he was living for a while. Jonathan Lowinger does a lot of research. He told me he was a shortstop in tier 1 LBA. So tier 1 shortstops aren't falling off of trees. Tier B shortstops aren't falling off of trees. So I don't know about Scheinbein. I put it out to the community. We have a tier 1 LBA shortstop. Lowinger might have done some really good research. This guy might be a stud. He might not be. But if he's a good shortstop at $2, I mean, that would be the biggest.
Yeah, there are going to be guys in this draft that are going to be drafted under $10 that next year will be in the 30s and 40s. It's going to happen, right?
If you ask me to pick one captain that's going to build a team the best, I think it would be Lowinger by far. First of all, he's the most in tune with all the players. He does the most research. He brought in a lot of players himself, and he was the most locked in. Him and Kirsch. He was on the field. He looked so intense.
And the guy's a winner. You know, he's won 5 championships over the last 12 months.
Yeah, well, Lowinger reminds me of like the guy like on draft day that has 6 cell phones and like everyone's calling in and he's like trying to like negotiate. He definitely, I would say, Avi. It's a little bit, and this will level out at the next draft. But obviously, the difference of Lowinger drafting versus Glenn doesn't know 80% of the guys, 70%. Where Lowinger's probably on the field at 10:30 in the morning in Lakewood with binoculars and a notepad and scouting. But let's see. Lowinger, it'll be interesting to see. I think you're right. I think he has a pretty good team.
By the way, if you know any young ladies for Jonas and Lowinger, I'm pretty close with him, and he's a good-looking guy, great athlete, and he also has a 6-pack. A lot of people don't know, but he sent me a picture of his 6-pack. He's a nice.
Got it. Well, maybe you should instead of like a Tuileries Polo, like the MVP gets like a free blind date with, maybe you got to do like open up a women's league and then like the MVP of the week gets to go out with Lowinger.
Okay, something else really funny. Something else.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Avi.
Arguably the funniest part of the night last night was like you had a very large modern Orthodox crowd. You had a very large like yeshivish crowd. So we had it, which is again, I think was a very nice thing to do. We had the moment of silence for Charlie Kirk and 9/11, and we had the national anthem. I'm trying not to laugh. You had guys there that were like super into it, like cap on the chest, like eyes closed, like singing along. And then you have guys there that look so uncomfortable, like you not know what to do, where to go. Like it was not to make light of a serious moment, but it was a little, it was a little bit funny watching the different expressions going around. I don't know what you were gonna say.
Okay, that's not the funniest moment of the night. I have a funnier moment, Avi.
Okay.
That's funny, but I have a funnier moment. I'm with this group of Syrians, very rowdy, single crew. One of them just got married. Some of them 18, some of them 19, some
Where?
of them 20. My team, the Syrian Sensations,
Oh,
they're very
no.
young.
Okay.
So Yanki Hershkowitz is on the team. So he joins the team, and then he's chatting with Joey Al-Hadef. And Yanki's like, I don't really belong on this team. He's in his 40s. So he's like, maybe my son should be on the team. His son's like in Israel. And then he's like, and I have a daughter who's 19. And Joey Al-Hadef is like, Yanki, do not tell anybody on this team that you have a daughter who's 19 years old. He's like, it's not going to end well. To me, that was the funniest moment of the night. Yossi doesn't look so amused.
No. I'm the wheels are turning around. Maybe next year also you could do an auction draft on a dating auction draft for the Hillcrest eligible bachelors. That'll be a lot. I'll come to that. I will absolutely. You could auction off Lowinger. You can auction off all these Syrians.
Shadchanis would be an interesting side hustle within the HSL. Avi, we can open up. The way like YU had their YU Connects thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we can open up an HSL dating site or something like that.
Okay, let's finish up with the Sabos. Who do you guys think best pick of the night, and who do you think was the overpay?
I think the Sabos are the best team in the draft.
Wow, that's a bold statement. All right, well, if they have the best team in the draft,
we'll get into it next week. I'm gonna do the rankings. I think they have the best team in the draft.
Who was their best pick at what price?
I think they have a multiple phenomenal picks.
Give me the best one.
I think Pfeiffer at $5 is a steal. Wild steal.
Who is this guy?
David.
I don't know, but Steve's in love with him.
He plays A-League.
That's why I said wild. Just because
he could catch.
By the way, the fact that you get an A-League player $5 already tells you.
Koenig at 53, like maybe he shouldn't have gone for 80, 90, or 100. But if Koenig is Koenig, you saw what he did against Ash's team on Monday night. Also, he could play outfield. So like if you ever
David, are you aware of what Yehuda Koenig did this week?
Oh, I heard last night.
And the last few years, people have talked about you, and I know Yehuda really well, and he's been dealing with injuries, but people were talking the last few years. It's such a shame. You should have seen Koenig back in the day. He was the best pitcher in the league. And he did. It happens. Everyone happens. Koenig decided to go into a time machine and go back to 1999. And he pitched better than I did. I pitched the first game, pitched that game. He basically gave up like 5 hits, no earned runs. He pitched really well. And everyone on the bench, I said it, his draft stock if that game didn't happen, I think he goes for like in the 20s.
I agree, by the way. I know, because he's been hurt. He's been hurt all year. He's been very active. He hasn't played as much. And he pitched a game of his life. And he's
the only pitcher that has a virtually non-hittable pitch. If he gets it over the plate, it's a ball that it's not like a knuckleball. It kind of like floats. You'll see it. I hope he's it'll be fun to watch if he's
another couple of guys in that team that I think we're underpaid for. Alan Erlich, $18. Again, another legit A-League player.
Professional hitter.
He plays a very solid first base. Keep on going down the line.
He could also play second base and even third. And Avi, he could play third base. He could play third base for sure. Erlich can play third base if you need him there.
David Manila at 21 was a good pick. I actually was telling Glenn to try to get him, and I said, try to at least go up to 20. We're on a limited budget. I think Hillel Rokach is the unfortunately he's in the overpay bucket only because David Bloom went for less money. And Jack Ross went for less money. And Hillel we all know how good Hillel might actually end up being the best defensive player in this draft, minus Bloom, I think, especially in the infield. And I think Hillel's a good hitter. I wouldn't put him in that top tier
Jack of 71.
Great hitters.
Yeah, I think Hillel went. I think a little reason why he went 73 is because Hillel could go from first, short, or third. So he could also,
Would you rather have Hillel Rokach or Jakey Goldenberg?
Jakey Goldenberg.
And that's your answer. Jakey went for 51. Hillel went. And that's the only reason. Hillel again is we talked about.
Hillel can pitch, which is not a small thing.
And he could pitch.
That is true, but I would say it would be fair value if he was the main pitcher. But at the end of the day, Koenig is going to be the main pitcher. I think if they would have drafted a pitcher for $9, then I agree with you. But if you're going to spend $53 on a pitcher, you never want Hill or Wilcox to pitch. You always want Koenig to pitch.
That's point.
It is a good
Can't go
insurance
three-
plan.
Koenig can't go 3 games in 2 nights, can he?
It depends. It depends if the time machine in his garage is working. Hop in the DeLorean. For all you kids out there.
I just think they have the most balanced. I think they have the most balanced team.
Maybe. Okay, so let's end off. I'm going to rapid fire questions. Avi, you ready for me to rapid fire?
Yeah.
All right, let's go, Avi. Who you would say the extreme Ben cleaning, which we need to talk about why Sperling wasn't in the draft, is the best team on paper?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say is the best defensive team in this draft?
That's a good question. I would probably say the best defensive team is Holy Schnitzel only because of their outfield and their infield.
Who would you say is the best hitting team in the league?
Lowenger's team.
Lowenger's team's the best hitting team. Who would you say is the team that you're most nervous about in the field?
What do you mean in the field?
Meaning, who would you say is the team
Worst
that walked out of
defensively?
this? Worst
Who's
defensively.
the worst defensive team in the league? It's tough. It's very tough.
I'm asking tough questions.
Yeah, you are asking tough questions. I would probably go prime cuts minus David Bloom. I mean, David Bloom's a stud, but I think around other than him, I think they're
Okay. All right. So we'll just say prime cuts because they have David Bloom. Who's the worst? Who's the team that you're most concerned that they're not going to get on base? The worst hitting team, I guess we'll call it.
Gottlieb's team.
Gottlieb's SY team. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the player out of the draft that you think next year when we have another very successful auction draft, who do you think is going to be the biggest riser, the biggest spread of all the players? Who's the guy who maybe went for $7 who's going to be $53? Yeah, who do you think is the guy who's going to have the biggest leap in price from this year to next year?
That's a great question because they're so.
And David, feel free if you want to answer this also.
Aaron Solomon is a sleeper. He's on my team.
This should be $21 for him as a tremendous overpay. He continues his line of unconfidence. There's so many of them. I was going to say
Avi, I'm surprised actually about the Syrian getting on base because you have Shama who's an on-base machine.
Against A-League pitching, though, how's that going to work? I don't.
Yeah, David, you got to prove Avi wrong.
You're right.
Basically, David, Avi's essentially saying that you have the worst hitting team in the league by far. And if you score 2 runs every night,
yeah, no, it's true. I really don't think it's close. I think outside of Solly and JoJo, I think you guys are by far the weakest hitting team in the league.
Wow.
But you don't know Joe Polanski.
We're gonna find out.
What I hear Joe's okay, but I don't even.
Avi, you got to answer the question. Who's the guy?
I think Dove Slansky is going for at least $25 in draft mix.
Dove Slansky. I know Dove Slansky.
He doesn't have the nicest swing, by the way.
Yeah, he does.
Not what I saw.
From what I saw.
In fact, I had a discussion with Benji Ashkenazi about it.
What does Dove Slansky play? Where are you putting him?
Base.
That's okay. So we're gonna see if I'm right on this
$5 play. That's ridiculous.
Oh, he went for $5.
I'm agreeing. He's not a $5 player.
Raves also, I think, go higher. But I think Dove. Listen, Dove was on my to-watch list for the most underrated players in the draft, so I have to stick with my to-watch list anyways.
Okay.
I put him to watch. No one listened to me. No one actually cared about him with $5.
Avi, I'm going to screen grab the call about my team. I'm going to screen grab all the calls. And
whatever you want. It'll be more fun next week when I actually give the.
Avi, who's the guy that you think out of this draft who the A guys like me are not familiar with that we're going to take notice and he'll probably be an exclusive A-League player?
Exclusive A-League talent who's currently not playing a lot in the A-League. I want to make sure I get this right. So give me 1 second here. Who do I hope? Who do I think? There's a big difference.
It's both. You could say 2 players.
There are a couple people I just don't think they're at all capable of playing A-League, and I think they're very capable. And I'll continue on that bag. And I think Devin Manel is extremely capable of playing A-League, and I think nobody knows of it because he doesn't believe it himself. So I think he's one. And just that's my hope. And my second of who I think is just going to show people that they're freaking amazing and could easily play in an A-League setting, I would probably say Avi Rave.
Okay. David, any thoughts on, you agree with that? Or you would say in an unbiased?
I think the issue is there are some guys I'm really, really fond of and think really highly of in the B League. But like you said, they haven't. There's an adjustment. Steve says all the time, "Come to the A League. It'll take you 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 seasons to figure it out."
I gotta look. When I gotta look, there's certain people.
What
I see them
happened?
play. No, there are certain people, at least from my mind, that when I see them play, you could tell that they. I don't. Maybe it's a softball drunk intuition.
But even if they belong, Suf talks about, as a catcher, he uses the term working the umpire. No, it's in the A League. You have guys. Glenn is very sophisticated. He'll know how to look at the umpire at the right time. He'll know how to groan at the right time. Like there's so many nuances. And then the chess match also with the pitcher. There's not a big chess match in the B League.
All those.
Well, all right, Avi, predictions. Here we go. Predictions.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Who will be the MVP of the first HSL Draft League?
The MVP of the first, and it's gonna be difficult because I know there's gonna be a ton of fights of pitcher versus hitter, and there's gonna be a lot of this back and forth.
This is what it is. You got to pick an MVP. Who is it?
I think the MVP, and I think the reason why he's gonna be the MVP is I think he's gonna come in with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. I think this team will be probably the best team, if not second best team in the draft, only because of the person who put it together. I think the team that the MVP will be from will be Jonas and Lohenger's team, and I think the MVP will be Steve Holland.
Okay. Who would you say on November 5th, where hopefully there's no snow and their championship game, which 2 teams are in the championship?
I think it's we'll have to look at the divisions. I need to make sure which division, because 2 teams in the same division can't both be in their championship.
That is true. It's fair.
Assuming they're in different divisions.
Which is weird, by the way, because didn't Nenner tell us last night that Ash, 3 of the top pitchers ended up in this?
Ash is by himself. It's Kaufman, Pollen, and Koenig in one division, Ash in the other. That's how it's.
So that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Right. So that means Steve and I technically can't make the championship. So you're picking Steve from one division, and you're picking from the other division. Who are you picking?
I gotta stick with my team that I think is the most well-rounded.
Which is Szabos. And the winner of the Avi Edelman prediction of the first HSL auction draft league is.
Although Extreme Vent Cleaning I think is the best team, I think Jonas and Lohenger's Bravo Kosher Pizza takes it home.
Wow.
By the way, Avi, Jonason and Steve is such a shidduch. Like, it's a match made in heaven. 2 guys who want to win so badly and think so deeply about team construction and stuff like that. It's such an interesting shidduch. When I said to Steve last night, Steve was giving me and Avi a hard time about adding Jonason to the All-Star roster. I said, Steve, by the time fall ball ends, you're going to be begging to have Jonason on the All-Star roster next year.
Well, I think also because Lohenger.
He said, I hope so.
Like Lohenger, you guys are missing the mark. Lohenger did get married. He just married a clincher in softball. That's who he's married to. So yeah, he's really into the game and he takes it very seriously. And he's big into winning. And his $600 bets that he brings to the game.
Yeah, and banding gloves.
He has a $600 bet. Jonas has a $600 bet.
He has these bets that are very, very expensive. I think he has multiple of them. Yeah.
Might be compensating.
But before last closing thoughts from Yossi, I just want to say, Jonas is so addicted to winning. We were talking about the Ben Salem tournament. I was going to pitch for him last week until it got rained out. And there was rumors of Uri Adler's team dropping out of the tournament because they weren't raising any money. And then at the very least, Ellie Race and Sammy Saruya ended up not playing because they couldn't raise it either. They're playing this week, I think. So Jonas, I'm like, Avi, I don't care who's playing in Tier 1. As long as I'm standing in the middle of the field holding a trophy in the tournament, I really couldn't care if it was 6-year-olds playing in that tournament. I just want a trophy. I just want to win. He's like, and the energy really, obviously you could see here, gets into me because I really believe in his ability. We just won the CARE tournament in Deal, a few weeks back. A bunch of SYs, the top SYs. We were told we can't make an all-star team. You had 2 SY teams that were legitimate all-star teams. Jonas just knows how to put it together. He's a winner, and that's what I think will carry through to this tournament as well.
All right, last question. We'll wrap. Avi, most controversial. Who finishes at the bottom of the league? Who's the team that you would say is the 0-5 most likely team?
Crush Trivia and David Gottlieb.
Wow. File this, David Gottlieb. Bookmark this podcast.
You guys have 2 studs.
I don't think I need a bookmark it.
Oh my God!
Wow. You have 3 average guys, and everyone else I think is below average.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, this was fun. We're gonna see if these predictions come true, and I'm excited. Good job. Keep up the great work, and a big shout out to Bromberg and Nenner for also being
stay tuned next week.
This all happen.
We're gonna get proper power rankings to all the teams next week, and we'll update it every week or so to keep the flow going.